everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I had a few requests to do a little bit comparison for the What's Up Beauty Skyfire palette. They just released this one in April and I did do a video on it last week, but a few of you wanted to have a comparison video, and so it just happens to be that I do have the other three palettes in their collection, and so I can compare them. I know I mentioned in my video that this one does seem like a sister to some of these other ones, and so we're going to try to do a comparison. I've never really done a comparison video, so I don't really know what you're expecting, but I'm going to do some swatches. I'm just going to give my overall opinion on how they differ, and then we'll just go from there. And hopefully this is insightful and maybe it helps you decide if you want to buy this palette or if you don't need to. I think it does, just straight away before I compare. Overall, having done a couple looks with this, there are shades here that you do not have in the other three What's Up Beauty palettes. And so I think straight away it does add something, but if you really want to know, let's get into it. Alright, so I have all four palettes here from What's Up Beauty. I did end up getting these three in a bundle, so you might be able to still get those in a bundle. I think they still have that availability. Obviously, I think this one was the first one, then the Geodes, then the Dragon's Eye, and then obviously Skyfire is the last one that they've just released. Initially, I thought these two were actually very similar. So let's start with these two. Looking at them, I don't actually think they're as similar as I thought they were. Okay, so I've zoomed you in. So let's look at the Skyfire again. Very, very, very pretty palette. What I will say about this one, and I'll do swatches, don't worry. None of the other palettes from what I can see have this beautiful turquoise blue, and then also this green is quite a bit different to the other ones from what I've seen. However, I do think all four palettes lean heavily on purples and pinks. So if that's not your thing, then that's not your thing. But just side by side with the Geodes, and obviously mine has been used, so mine looks a little bruised. You can see actually straight away they are quite a bit different from each other. Yeah, I forgot that this one has basically this section over here, which is a lot more grungy greens in the, you've got your mustard yellow and your brown, and you do have this green, but I think it's quite a bit different to the Borealis. You do have this purple sky and you have this crystal shade. Obviously the mattes maybe could be slightly similar, but I don't think they're that comparable, which when I was doing my video, I thought they were a lot more similar. So let's do some swatches just to compare. So this one is the new Skyfire. Hopefully my swatches aren't too terrible. I don't usually do them on my arm like this because my arm is pretty fat. But yeah, you can see the different shimmers there. Very pretty. Let me just swatch the Geodes side by side. Okay, and now this is the Geodes, quite light and bright, and you have the yellows as well, which you don't have in the other palette. So here they are side by side. Obviously this one is Skyfire and this one is the Geodes. You can see that they're both light and they both have pinks to them, but I really don't think that they're too similar from each other. They both have really pretty shimmers, and if you catch them in the light, they are absolutely gorgeous, but I don't think they're actually that similar other than the pinks and purples, which you do have in both. Okay, so back to comparison, let's look at the Dragon's Eye palette in comparison with the Skyfire. Again, I think the Dragon's Eye is different. It has a lot more warm tone to it, whereas this one is a lot more cool tone. And, you know, you might have a couple of purples that are quite similar, but other than that, I don't think there's really much else that is the same here. So let's do some swatches. Okay, so here is the Dragon's Eye. You can see the colors are much more vibrant and just a lot stronger in this palette. And here they are next to each other. I did end up going back into the Skyfire because those shades did swatch off as I have been moving around. But you can see they're actually not too different, right? I don't know, they have like the same vibes to them, but I don't think any of the shades are the same or dupes of each other. I just think they marry really well together. You can tell that they're from the same brand. They're very pretty shades. I do think Dragon's Eye obviously is a little bit warmer, and maybe there's just a little bit more color to them. I will say the Skyfire feel very much like topper shades. You can build them up, which I have obviously just done because they did swatch up a little bit as I've been moving my arm. But I do think that they're still different enough from each other that you can have both palettes, if that makes sense. If you're, you know, one of those people that just has to have them. And then I think these two are probably the least similar. So again, we have the Skyfire and then we have the Desert Monsoon. I don't think there's going to be much to compare in these two. Maybe, you know, the lighter mattes and everything like that, but otherwise the only blue in here is this one. I did have a purple here, which I did take out, but I don't think it's similar to these. So there is the Desert Monsoon, obviously missing that one shade that I removed. And then you have them side by side, which I just don't think there is a comparison there. I will say the Skyfire shimmers look more sparkly than they do in the Desert Monsoon. Desert Monsoon are a little bit smoother, and then these are just more toppers, and I really do like topper shades, so it's not a big deal for me. So overall, would I say that you need this palette? I mean, if you want it, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money and your collection. If you want this palette, go ahead and go for it. I think if you do have either the Geodes or the Dragon's Eye, maybe just think about, is it going to add enough to my collection to warrant it? Dragon's Eye is a lot more warmer, as you saw. And then the Geodes, I still think it is the closest, but the Geodes has the yellows and this sort of green, which obviously this one does not have. So I think you can probably use them side by side together and they work really well, but they give you different things. So Skyfire is definitely the one that has the most shimmers out of all of them. So if you like shimmers over mattes, maybe go for this one. And it does lean a little bit more pink and purple and like a reddish pink, but I like that. So it's really up to your preference and your taste, quite honestly, and your collection. So yeah, that was the side-by-side comparison. Let me know what your thoughts and if this was helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!